Hey, hello, my sweet YouTube friends. How are you doing today? Today we're gonna have a Wip Chat. And if you don't know what a Wip Chat is, Wip stands for WIP stands for work in progress, and this is my work in progress. And chat, well, that means I'm gonna chat your ears off for a while, okay? So how are you all doing today? I hope you have a beautiful day. Today is Tuesday for me, and I'm gonna upload this right away when I filmed it. Um, so yeah, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. There will be a subscribe button right down there, and next to it you find a bell. If you ding that and choose all, you'll be notified whenever I put up a new video. So yeah, and if you're back, hi, welcome back. I hope you all know how much I appreciate you being here. And yeah, all of you, both the new ones and the regular ones, please give my video a thumbs up. It really do help. And yeah, let's get into all of this. First, let us talk about all of this, okay? So my work in progress today is my Amethyst by Alphonse Mucha. The canvas I bought from Enablers Outpost. So it is called Amethyst, and it is one of the what's the name of it? Oh god, the name is gone. The Gem series. God. So here you have her. Where am I right now? Her hair, I'll be right around here in her face because I'm working upside down because this is a rather large panel. My canvas is 50 by 125 centimeters, and when I'm done with this row of my canvas, I'll be 30 centimeters in, okay? So there's a long way to go. This canvas has 47 colors. Oh my god, I'm doing this great today, huh? So 47 colors, and of those, 2 of them is ABs. This canvas is poured glue. And yeah, I have square drills, and yeah, God, I'm so tired today. I'm so sorry, people. My trays that I use are the Art De Nicole ones. I'm guessing these are going to be my favorites. I do also have a Munimade tray. This is in the Painted Paradise color. I also love these trays, but when you're working on a highly this isn't color blocking. This is a confetti kit. When you're working with confetti, a large Munimade tray is just overkill. This right here, where I have, well, a bunch of the same colors, that is the first time that it isn't all confetti. So, yeah. I do also have my Enablers Outpost pen because this isn't Enablers Outpost canvas. So I'm like, yeah, it's funny to work with this pen as well. This pen is the one that I traded with Edward. I do also have this teeny tiny one that is from Enablers Outpost as well. This is one of the mini pens. So yeah. Then I have this pen from the Plus Beau Tour in France. I use this one for ABs because it's just filled with the red wax in here, and for me that is working the best with ABs. What else? Oh yeah, ooh, sorry. I do also have this beautiful pen that I got from Pencil Surprises. Sharon, she's making these herself by pouring resin. and I love it's square, and it's just so comfortable in your hand. Even though it's square, it's really, really comfortable. And I don't have a multi-placer in this one because I have this little cute tassel. So yeah, I have in these two multi-placers down here, I have my own homemade putty. And in these, I think in all three of these, yeah, in all three of these, I have a glue dot. So yeah, and I am using Elizabeth Ward containers, and I have an entire tray just with this size. This is the second smallest size of the Elizabeth Ward ones. And in this, if you're working on a Diamond Art Club kit, in one of these you can fit an entire bag of the big ones. So that is, I love that. So I'm gonna buy some more of this size and one more of the smaller ones, I think, just to, in case. And I am gonna be buying stuff so that I can do a cross stitch conversion. So that one will have almost 90 colors. So I'm gonna need some containers. Anywho, let's get into this. So as I asked before, how are you doing? I hope you're okay. Please sit down, grab something to drink. I have my iced tea. If you're hungry, grab a snack. These Wip Chats is basically just me telling you about my life and whatever I feel like sharing with you. Sorry, I need a drink of my iced tea. So you can join me in working on one of your work in progress. That can be diamond painting like this. It can be knitting. It can be crochet. It can be cross stitch. Some people also use these Wip Chats to listen to while they're cleaning or doing groceries, or taking a walk or something. So yeah, you can basically do whatever you want while I'm chatting your ears off for a while. So yeah, let's start with today, okay? Because today I was at the pain clinic. They had sent me. It's not an email. We have this form of secure system where, well, the state and the hospitals and insurance companies and stuff like that can send you secure mail, so that if it has anything to do with your personal security number, it can't be breached, which is, I really like that, because sending, well, not secret information but personal information with a regular letter, that can be intercepted very, very easily. It isn't, I have never heard of very many people who had these letters stolen, but what I have heard was back when I was working on getting my disability, I had once gotten a letter for someone else. I had all the information of this person in one letter. I had the social security number. I had the information about the state of the illness this person had and everything. So I had to contact the city. It's kind of like social worker, the way the places that the social workers work in the city, and tell them, you know what, you have sent me this massive letter with a lot of information that isn't about me. You have to contact that person so that he can complain about this breach of security, because I can't do that for this person. It's ridiculous that I can't complain directly to this part of the state because I received a wrong letter, but it has to be the person that this has happened to. that has to complain. So I mean, I didn't know the person, even though this bigger city that I lived close and that I lived in at that time is basically a big village. I mean, there is 50,000 people in the city, but it's basically just a big village if you've lived in it your whole life. But sadly, I didn't know this person. Otherwise, I would have contacted the person and told them so that they knew what happened. So yeah, that is why I like this secure system, because it can't happen. You can only send out my information to me, which is great. So anyway, that is a long way down in a rabbit hole to tell you that I had to go to the pain clinic today. David drove because I can't drive, and I do drive. But if it's much more than 45 minutes or so, it is draining my energy. I can drive up to an hour, but then I need a break. I mean, I can't just go in and be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to listen, because I'm just tired at that time. So he drove and went into the doctor's appointment with me, because it's really just me or us talking to the doctor. And in my head, it was a waste of time. And I'm pretty sure that it wasn't meant as being a waste of time, because we went out and I basically said, oh my God, this was a waste of time. It took about 10 minutes, and we have to drive 50 minutes each way to get there, or to get home again. So like for 10 minutes, it was just blah. But as David put it, well, they do need to see you every now and then, because, I mean, they can't see you in a phone call. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but for 10 minutes? So they were asking me, how I found the weaning out of my methadone, and about the what's the name of it again? See, I just had it 10 minutes ago. God, what's the name of it? I can't remember the name right now. I get the name in a second. But I told them, that it was okay, and the things that I have experienced up until now was basically like a flu. So I mean, it was okay, just because it's flu symptoms, and I can do that, as long as it didn't get worse than that. So yeah, I can do that, absolutely. But yeah, hold on. Okay, withdrawing. I'm sorry, that word was out of my head. So they were asking about my withdrawal symptoms, and I was like, yeah, that is just like a flu symptom. And one of the things that I find the most annoying is that I'm so hot. I mean, I don't even need to do anything, and I'm sweating. And I told the doctor, like, sometimes I need to change my top several times a day because it gets wet. And then on top of it, it doesn't make it better that we have, I mean, this is ridiculous, because some of you all in America has it a lot warmer than here. But when we hit 25 degrees during the day, it is called, I mean, if it's more than 25 degrees and nearing 30 degrees during the day, they call it a heat wave. I mean, it is ridiculous because it isn't, yeah, well, for us, it's a heat wave. But that doesn't make it easier on me that I'm so warm. Oh, by the way, about the heat wave, somebody in my Facebook, put up a picture from a weather forecast in, was it the 90s, I think, and they had about the same temperatures as now. And I mean, today it's called a heat wave. Back then it was just a summer day. So it's kind of like everybody is getting a little more hysterical today than back then. I guess you feel the same, that everything is a little bit more hysterical. But anyway, the heat doesn't make it better. So yeah, but then I do go to the ear acupuncture. I try to go every week, and I have been so far, but things can happen. And she has one of the needles she can move around, so it helps that I feel better. So yeah, and she did that last week, and at least the joint pain has receded a little. So yeah, that is good, at least I think. But the doctor always also told me, that they are taking a summer break in week 29 and 30, which means I won't be able to get in contact with them these 2 weeks. So what they usually tell people that is weaning off of, they call it morphica products, like my methadone. It is a morphine product that they usually, don't take away anything more during these weeks. But I'm like, well, I'm 10 days in since I removed a tablet. The last time I have a tablet. So I might, remove a half more during this week, and then let's see how it's going. Because I am supposed to get out of it, right? If it is too tough, then I just, go back and take that half pill again. So yeah, let's see. Then I talked to a nurse, which was basically just, when do we call you again? And yeah, that was the ridiculous 10-minute appointment. It is. I still find it a waste of time. But if they have to see me every now and then to check that I'm not lying when I talk to them, and I'm like, why would I lie? What would that give me to lie in a phone call? I'm not sure, but I guess maybe some has in the past, which is why they do it. I get that, but then at least tell me that this is a conversation where we can look at you and see how you're doing. Tell me that so I know I'm not there to, I don't know, have an hour-long appointment. At least, I would like to know that. So yeah, I won't be hearing from them again until in the middle of August, which is, by me, it's okay. I mean, I don't know. You know that feeling of being not cuddled, but how do I explain it? I'm really happy that I have them. They have basically saved my life, because if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have been able to get the medicine that I'm on, because my own normal practitioner don't know a whole lot about pain. So they don't have the same knowledge of what would help against nerve pain, sorry. So they would just give me something, and they wouldn't know what medicine reacts with other medicines and stuff like that. The pain clinic is highly specialized. They know about regular pain, that is in the muscles and stuff like that. And then they know a lot about nerve pain, which is what I have. So with nerve pain, you can't just give regular pain medicine, because it won't work, because the pain is in the nerves. So what they use is antidepressants, because the antidepressants will numb the nerves. That is basically how it works. Is if you're depressed, it will numb the nerve system so that you feel better. And I don't know how different the dosage is, but at least they're using the same. I mean, they used it antidepressant medicine, and it do work. I am waiting to see how the pain will be when I'm out of the methadone. But the doctor both today and earlier have told that they would use something called low dosage non-something, NLD. But they can't try that until I'm out of the methadone, because you can't have any morphine in your body when you try it, because you'll get horribly sick. I know about the product. I know people who have tried it. I do also know that some people don't get any effect out of it, which is, I'm a little not apprehension. I mean apprehensive, apprehensive, because I do know that the ones where it works are very happy about it, and it is also about the dosage. But yeah, we will have to see how it all pans out. I mean, I kind of hope that the medicine I take now will be what helps me. I don't want to take more medicine than needed, because my body also, I don't know, it doesn't need a break. It needs to not be on more medicine than it has to. So yeah, I'm like, okay, let's see what's going to happen the next few months. I'm gonna, take it by ear, how I'm doing, and if I'm, I don't know, doing it too fast, I might consider even, trying just to remove a quarter of a pill, to see if that is what's needed to be removed once at a time, because that is what we did back when I was getting used to it. That was just a quarter pill at a time, and then a half a pill and stuff like that. So yeah, so that was today, Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday, so Monday is Rosa Day. And yeah, I love having her on these Mondays. We have to see if it's still Mondays when we get to September, because it depends on what days the gymnastic will be. But I picked her up yesterday and she was in good spirits and she was just bouncy as always and had a cute little skirt and a yellow top on, so she just looked like a little summer girl. And the entire way home from her daycare, she was talking. She was just talking about this and that and something that she'd done with Daddy and what happened at her birthday. I mean, she had the birthday party where David and I were, and then that was on Saturday, and then her last Saturday, and then her birthday were on Wednesday last week, which was more or less just with her and Mommy and Daddy. And then because I think my parents weren't able to join the birthday party, they stopped by with a gift on that Wednesday. But mostly it was just Mommy and Daddy. So yeah, that's a perfect day. But she was talking about that day and that it was nice to have a day with Mommy and Daddy. And I love that. I'm so happy that my brother and former sister-in-law, I mean, to me, she's still family. She is the mother of Rosa. She'll always be family. But they're, working together very well to raise Rosa. Rosa. So yeah. Most of the time, every Monday when we're going back to my brother, because she lives with my brother, she's like, I'm going home to Mommy and Daddy. And I mean, I tell her, I'm not sure if Mommy is in your home. Maybe she'll eat with you. And she'll go like, yes, we're going home to Daddy and maybe Mommy will be there. So she is aware that Mommy isn't living with them anymore. But she's a child. It's a wistful thinking, that Mommy and Daddy will live together again. And that is understandable. She's 3 years old. She might be bright, but I'm not sure that she really, really understands what's going on or something. I don't know. She is sometimes a little too bright for her own good. So yeah. Oh, by the way, my window is open, so you might hear the very little traffic noise that we have in my street. I live in a very, very small, it's kind of like a cul-de-sac. It's 8 houses, and the most traffic we have is, the houses here and some of the people that visits. So it isn't a lot of traffic. And some days are just worse than others. I feel like some days it's people all the time. And then if we're lucky, we might be able to hear one of the planes going to the airport about an hour north of here. And they are low when they get to our village. So I love looking at them out my window. And if they're low and the wind isn't too bad, I can hear them. So I know when they're coming because I can hear them from far away. And yeah, I mean, even before when we lived at our old house, I could see them. But now, I mean, we moved, I don't know, 2.5 kilometers away. But for some reason, it's just much more prominent out here. Maybe because it's more silent. I don't know. I mean, in a village, it will be more silent than in a city. I mean, I noticed it when we were at Rosa's birthday party. My brother lives out to a busy street, and I just noticed all the noise that was in the garden. And when we came home, David and I were like, whew, I'm happy to live in a village where the noise isn't as bad, because I just kept hearing all the cars that went by and people talking and laughing and I don't know what when they went by on bikes or walked. Yeah, I think I'm a little noise sensitive since we moved out here because it's so quiet. But yeah, yesterday we played, and I don't know if how many of you are friends with me on Facebook. You might have seen the picture that I put on Facebook yesterday of it's an amazing picture of her. She is smiling so bright, and she's playing with some of her play food, and she's just happy as can be. So I had to put that on my Facebook, and I did take a bunch of other great pictures of her that I, sent to my brother on Messenger, because not every picture needs to be on Facebook, right? Do I have any more teas? Do you see any teas? Oh yeah, one over there. I don't know why it is a rule. Then whenever you're done with a certain color, you put it away and you will immediately find at least one. It seems like it's a rule, at least for me. So I'm trying, to really look all over the place, almost like scanning it, and yet I still find at least one. For some reason it's just annoying, but it's kind of like it's a rule. But yeah. So what else? Yesterday wasn't really, I had to go to the pharmacy to get some bandages for David, but that will be on Sunday's happenings, because Sunday I was home alone most of the day because David was on a biking trip with his new I don't know, biking club. It's another professional club. It's more like a laid back training club, if you can say it like that. So this was his first trip. They were going to the west coast of Jutland, where we live, and were, going to bike around 100 kilometers. And he was looking forward to it, and all was good. And then when they were done, he wrote me a text on Messenger, and he was like, I'm broken in now. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he sent me a picture of his, just under his, what knee is that? The right knee. He had scraped it really good. I won't be putting in any pictures because it's bright gory, and I know some people are squeamish. But yeah, he got it good. And I'm like, oh, that looks bad. Hold on, I'm gonna need a sip of iced tea. But when he came home, first off, the bike, everything was covered in dust because they had been driving on kind of like a dust road or something. Because it hadn't really been raining a lot for weeks and weeks, they had dust everywhere, all of them. Even he was like, I think I have dust in my nose and in my mouth and everywhere. He was basically like, I think I have dust in my bicycling pants. And I was like, ooh, ouch. So David and I made a deal like 100 years ago that, yeah, he takes care of me when my body won't really work, and I take care of him when he has an injury or something. It is always me that, checks the injury and put a bandage on it and clean it and stuff like that. Both because I used to do that when I worked in a nursing care. I used to look at and dress wounds. So, and even though I don't do that job anymore, it's still, it's it's in my blood, whatever you want to call it. I know how to do it. So he came out of the shower and I put him on a stool, take a look at it, and I'm like, yeah, we do need to clean it because there is still some dust and I don't know what in it. So, and before he came home, I had brought out everything that I was like, we might be able to use that on the wound, but I didn't have any dressings big enough. So I had to use these gaze padding stuffs that I don't know if you know what that is. It's kind of these that you put on if you have sprained your hand or something. So I had to put a couple of those on him because I didn't have a bandage big enough. And I cleaned it and made sure that there were no dust or little stones or anything in the wound. And it might have, not might have, it must have hurt because I was using, cotton balls and why do I keep forgetting these things that you clean your ears with? Please write me down in the comment field what the name is because I keep forgetting it. So I had those. I have, taken some hot water and I had those and I just cleaned the wound. He had some deep scrapes in the knee because he fell on some rocks, little rocks and stones. So there were some rather deep scrapes, and I had to clean those. So yeah, it might have stung a bit, but we got all out, and he took some tea tree oil and these little gaze thingies that we used to bind it with until I could get to the pharmacy on Monday. And the wound was, it is big. It's like, I don't know, 6 centimeters by 4 or something. And that isn't a a common size of wound, because when I went to the pharmacy, and the sizes that they write on these bandage packages is the entire bandage, inclusive the adhesive thing about it. So I had to, talk to one of the employees at the pharmacy, and I was like, I need a bandage where the thing in the middle that is covering the wound has this size. And we were like trying and figuring out what we needed, and I was still like, well, this isn't perfect, but we need to go online and find it, because David had looked online while I was there, and he had found something that was better than what I could find. And I'm like, okay, that'll work. I will buy a few of those so that we'll can change it every day until these other ones will show up. So that's what I did, and hopefully the new ones will show up tomorrow. So yeah, I'm not squeamish at all. I know people would look at a wound at that and go, "Ooh, I can't do that." And when I look at a wound like that, I'm like, okay, what can I do? I'm not like, "Ooh, this doesn't look good." I mean, I'm mostly like, okay, this wound needs to be cleaned and dressed, and I'm not afraid of blood or anything. I'm just like, okay, we need to wash this to make sure, that everything that comes off of this is clean. I mean, I need to make sure that those things that you put in your ear when you clean them, that what comes off of those is either clear or just some blood. Because there can't be any dirt in it, there can't be any, anything in it but blood and white, fluids. And it did take a while, and I I had my life, to get ready to. So when I was done cleaning and dressing his wound, I had like 10 minutes to my life. So I stressed a little because I needed to go to the bathroom. I needed to get a coffee. I needed to find some iced tea because I like having those. My lives tends to be on the longer side, between 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So I do need to be prepared. But I made it. I was ready about 2 minutes before my life began. So yay! But I was a little stressed. And I was like, my husband's wound and his health was important as well. It's just a little stressful. And I'm sure if I had written in the chat in the live, I would be a few minutes late because of my husband. Nobody would have said anything about it. I want to be on time. But it was a nice live. We weren't that many people there. And I'm sure it's because of the warm weather over there as well, and people wants to be outside in the garden and stuff like that. Because most of my American friends, when it's my lifetime, it is. Sorry, I have to yawn. I'm still doing that. My lifetime on the East Coast is 1 p.m., so it's around midday, and people would absolutely be out in the garden or doing shopping or whatever you do on Sundays. And since the weather is nice outside, I would expect that, people would be out and about. And on the West Coast, it is 9 p.m. No, 10 p.m. in the morning. So, I mean, some might be sleeping in, or they're at church or something. They'll be at church or something like that. I mean, everybody has their Sunday plans, but usually there are more people in my lives. But yeah, we had a good time, and people snuck in as time went. We were just, talking about life in common. I mean, I love to hear how my friends are doing because I consider all of you as my friends. I don't have a whole lot of real life friends for a couple of reasons. One of them being that, sorry again, oh, that yawning drives me crazy. One of them being that a bunch of the friends that I thought I had ditched me back when I got sick. And that is normal. I mean, I am not the only one that happened to. I mean, a lot of people can't handle sickness. Some of them, it's the same, with death. I mean, people will stop talking to you if somebody close to you dies. And I'm still like, why? I mean, those people need you more now than ever. And still, people just stop talking. Anyway, yes, I don't have a bunch of friends anymore. But I mean, you guys is you're just always there. And I really, really appreciate that, and I hope you know that. I mean, we might not know each other in real life, but I still consider you my friends because by now you know me quite well, and I know you quite well. So yeah. So if you're new here, I hope you will let me get to know you as well. I mean, I'm I'm a pretty open person, but again, I'm not afraid of what I'm telling you here. Is it can't come back and hurt me, you know? Even if former friends or people that don't like me listens to this, they're welcome to. They can't hurt me because I it isn't I don't tell things here that I can't handle, being told to me again and people not liking it. Because I am basically an open book. And if people have issues, then it's their problem. I'm just me. You will never hear me tell a lie because that is not who I am. People might have a different opinion on things that has happened, which is more than okay. I I know that some people won't admit to some of the things that I have told you. And again, that is okay, but it doesn't change what I felt and heard and, but yeah. So I hope any of you would let me get to know you as well. I mean, you don't have to share as much as I do, because I know that for some people it would be tough to do that in case, my YouTube is open. But yeah, you're always welcome to write to me on Instagram or on Facebook. You can always apply for friendship with me if your name is vastly different on Facebook than it is here on YouTube. Just send me a message, so that I know, because I'm not always, if strange people send me a friendship request and I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Sometimes I'll send a message like, I'm sorry, do I know you, or do you know me, or something like that? Just to make sure, because I get a lot of weird requests. I don't think very many of them has to do with my channel. It is just those, those regular weirdo friend requests that you get on Facebook. The ones where, the ones sent to women by doctors or veterans or something like that, and now their spouses had died from cancer or in war or whatever. I mean, it is horrible what they try to gain points from. I mean, they will do anything to get you to feel sorry for them and make friends with them. And I'm like, well, there can't be that many doctors and veterans that wants to be friends with me, And funny enough, I have noticed that like 9 out of 10 of them is from the Middle East. But they all claim to live in the US. Some of them even claim to live here in Denmark, but they can't speak one word of Danish. Yeah, that is very probable. Absolutely not. I mean, if you're in the army in Denmark, you have to speak Danish. And if you're a doctor in Denmark, you have to be able to speak Danish so that people can understand you. So, yeah, absolutely. You can be a doctor or in the military in Denmark and not being able to speak one word of Danish. That is very probable. So, yeah. I'm not a very gullible person. I don't I don't believe them at all. I mean, most of the time I just block them. But every now and again I feel like a good laugh. So, I don't invite them to my channel. They won't get access to my channel except for they can write to me and stuff like that and maybe see my profile pictures, which is okay by me. I mean, anyway, and they all always have that same sob story, and they're in some country that isn't their own, and within, I don't know, a few days or so, they got robbed and they don't have their passport or the money or anything, if I'll be able to help them out. That is one of the sob stories. The other one is, that they're so sad because they lost their wife, or they're so lonely and they need someone they can confide in, and that I am so pretty and blah blah blah, and would I consider being their friend, because I'm always very upfront telling you should just know I'm a married woman. I have been for many many years. So if you're gonna try to, I don't know what, I'm just gonna say no thank you and move on. So yeah, then they're just interested in having a female friends that might be a little more understanding than all their guy friends. And they still, need, because they just recently lost their wives and they don't have the means to buy whatever they now want to cheat you into, because they always need money. That is what they do. They try to cheat you out of money. And what I also do is I take the pictures and I do a Google search, because most of these steal other people's pictures and they use them for that purpose. I mean, I'm not afraid of them stealing mine because I'm not a thin, skinny woman with luscious, long, blonde, or very dark hair. I'm absolutely not in that scales. I mean, I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna steal my profile picture because I don't match that segment that you're looking for. But apparently people that looks like me are in their means of easy targets, because she'll be so happy if someone is giving her attention. I'm like, I'm sorry, but how stupid do you think I am? I mean, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we had a good live on Sunday. Saturday was nice and relaxed. There was a bit of cleaning, and we were doing laundry, and we went to visit my mother-in-law, who was in the hospital a lot of last week. She were admitted Monday afternoon because she was dehydrated. Her blood pressure were very low, and she was just feeling very, very bad. So they had to call 911 to get her to the hospital. And, with her having dementia, it is hard on them to be admit it because they don't understand what's happening. And we were down there visiting her on Wednesday, and she had no clue where she was. She didn't know that she was in the hospital. She didn't know why she was there. She was like, well, when do I have to move, and where do I move to? And we were like, well, you have to stay here a few days so that the doctors can make you healthy again, that you need to have fluids in your veins, and they need to make your blood pressure normal again, because you have very, very low blood pressure. And she was feeling so bad. On Monday, when we were there to check up on her, she didn't even notice us being there, which was so weird, because normally she will light up the second she sees us, despite what she's doing. I mean, we can walk into the dining room usually, and she'll just light up, knowing that, oh, this is my son and daughter-in-law, and I'm so happy to see them. We walked into her living room, and she didn't even look up. She was just basically asleep. So we talked to the, I don't know what she was. She wasn't a nurse, but she was an assistant in that nursing center. And we talked to her, and she showed us, the plates that she brought in, and like she had hardly eaten anything, and she didn't really drink anything. And we were like, well, what are you gonna do? And she was like, well, first off, because she was put back in bed. Well, I'm gonna contact her nurse right away, and we have this system in Denmark that is pretty new, that they will send out a vehicle that has a doctor in it. They have a nurse. They have everything to check out people that lived in nursing homes, so that they don't need to go to the hospital, because they know that people with dementia doesn't do well with being removed from their daily life. So they try to avoid putting people with dementia to the hospital, because they know how badly they react to it. But that car was more than an hour away, and they weren't feeling safe with keeping her. So that car ended up telling them, you have to call 911, because I'm not sure she can wait for us. So they had to call an ambulance and get her to the hospital. And yeah, she was so confused. And so, she had no idea where she was. She was like, well, is this where I'm living now? And we were telling her that she's in the hospital, and you'll just be here. The nurse, when we arrived, told us that she'll be sent back to her nursing home the next day. So we talked to her, tomorrow you'll be going home to your nursing home, where you live. And she was like, oh, don't I live here now? And I feel so bad for her, because she's so confused. And I told David on the way home, I mean, she was just beginning to be like, oh, this is my home, I know where I am, and feeling, safe this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm like, yeah, now they can start all over again, because they had to move her. Because when she moved into that nursing home, she had been I don't know, she was at the hospital, and then she was moved into this temporary training facility, and then she was moved to her nursing home, and all that from March until 1st of May. So yeah, she had been around, and she was, in her old house, also before she was admitted in March. So she was like, she has been 4 places in just a few months. So she was so confused about where she was going to be and why and how long and who was going to take care of her. And yeah, so she was finally beginning to like, okay, I am here now. This is where I'm supposed to be. And yeah, but now they basically have to start all over again. And she is so suspicious. She's basically very sure that they're going to poison her. Everything that they feed her tastes weird, and they have to be poisoning her, even though it is stuff from her own refrigerator. She has to, do it herself so that she knows this is safe. Yeah. And they also began, having a person, one of the employees, sitting next to her, eating with her so that she can see that this isn't poisonous. Oh my God. And I'm like, he's always been suspicious of people wanting to hurt her because she had a horrible, horrible childhood. And her marriage with David's dad wasn't always, you know, perfect. He, yeah, they both had a bad temper, and let's just keep it at that. So she doesn't trust people. I mean, I have never met a person that is that distrusting. I remember when she had her heart surgery about 3.5 years ago by now, and all the doctor's visits we had to go to after that, because I took her to like 95% of those because I was the one who had the time. I'm not working, I'm at home. So I offered, I have the time, let me do it. And I was always, telling everybody what had happened, what the doctor had said, so that they didn't feel like I took something from them. I don't know why I would be doing that, but anyway. And she was always sure that the doctors and the nurses didn't know what they were doing, and how could they, and she would always know better. And she and I has always been very upfront with each other. We are both Virgos, so that is the kind of people that we are. So I would usually just look at her and be like, oh, how many years have you been a doctor? And she would be like, well, I am not. I'm not like, okay, should we then consider that they know what they're doing? I mean, they have been trained for like 12, 10 years, depending on what their specialty is. And she would just look at me and be like, well, how do I know that? And I was like, well, they won't work at a hospital if they aren't trained well. And, and she was like, well, they don't like me. And I was like, well, would you like a person that was constantly telling you that they don't know what they're doing? Well, no, she wouldn't do that. You see, there you have it. You need to respect them. You need to talk to them like they know what they're doing. They're not trying to hurt you. They're trying to help you. And you treating them like shit, yeah, sorry, I did say that on my channel, won't help you. And she was like, yeah, you might be right. And I would, every time she was going to the hospital to have some procedure done, she had a lot of fluid in her lungs because she kept on smoking after that surgery. Even though every nurse and every doctor told her, to keep yourself healthy and make sure that the surgery we did works, you need to stop smoking, but she wouldn't. I mean, she's been smoking for 60, 70 years by now. So, yeah. So she just kept getting fluid in her lungs, and we kept going to the hospital for them to remove it. And she also had some heart monitoring. You know, she had a V-fib or whatever it's called. So one of the times we went to the hospital, they need to what is it called? You know, shock her. Of course, she was sedated and everything. And before they sedated her, they were like, "Do you want me to stay in here, or do you want me to go outside while they're doing it?" And she was like, I want you to stay in here. I want to know that you're here, yet you're close by. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'll just be sitting over here so that I'm not in the way. And when it's done, I'll come over and hold your hand while you wake up. So I did that. And I have to tell you, I've never seen people being shot before and only seen in a TV. I can tell you that it looks pretty much the same as they do on TV. Yeah. Again, I wasn't afraid of what they were doing. I'm very much into anatomy and how the body works and stuff like that. And I do know a lot, which, I mean, I do know a lot about it because I want to know. I'm reading and, you know, doing all the things to learn about it, both because of my own body and everything, but also because I'm just a curious person. So she was like, when we drove home that afternoon, she was like, "So how did they do it?" And I was like, "Are you sure you want to know? Because it is a little rough. I mean, they didn't do anything bad. It is just most people do not want to know what it was like, because it isn't just a little shock, you know. You weren't just laying there and everything was nice and easy." And she was like, so it was bad. And like, no, it wasn't bad. It was just, you know, true. It was there. It happened. So yeah. So we were there, and then on Saturday we went visit, and oh dear. She is seeing things and experience things and being very suspicious. We had to tell her that nobody was watching her. There were no cameras, there were no microphones, there were nothing in her apartment, because she was basically sure that everything that she said and did and everything were being recorded in her apartment, and they had been doing that from the very beginning. Yeah, so David had to tell her, you know, Mom, I was one of the person who decorated your apartment. When we got in here to decorate, everything was bare. There was nothing in here that would suggest anybody trying to do none of those things that you talk about. And she would be okay for like 5 minutes, and then she began again. So yeah, we did spend a lot of time talking to her to ensure her. Then she got thirsty. And because we had read that she had been so suspicious all day and that she had to pour her own water, I was like, I wonder if she will take the water that I'm giving her. But she did. No issues at all. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's because, you know, I'm a safe person to her. Then she doesn't suspect that I'm trying to poison her. But yeah. So it's been quite a week, and I have been yabbering for more than an hour by now. Yeah, I hope this wasn't too much for you all, but it is my life, and I am telling you about my life. And again, I'm not saying anything that I can't handle coming back to me. And yeah. So let's stop it here. I still have a little bit of things to do before I can put it on YouTube and everything. I appreciate you being here. And again, if you're new, I hope I haven't scared you away. This is the person I am. And if you have liked what you have heard and seen and, yeah, haven't been scared away, please consider the subscribe button down there. I would love for you to be one of my new friends, and the bell next to it so that you can choose all and be notified whenever I put up a new video. And to all my friends, thank you for listening again. I really appreciate you being here for me and listening to me. And to all of you, please give me that thumbs up. And all the information for the things that I'm using and yeah, is down in the description box. And I would love it if you would give me some comments down below. I love hearing what you have been working on, how you're doing at the moment, and everything that you wanna comment on in my Wip Chat. I would greatly appreciate that. So yeah, this is it for me today, and I can't wait to see you again in my next video. Bye everybody. Bye. I love you.